Commanders fans, welcome to our channel. Today, we're diving deep into a game that left everyone on edge. Get ready because this match between the Washington Commanders and the Pittsburgh Steelers was marked by intense plays, controversial referee decisions, and plenty of frustration. I'll warn you now, the story of this defeat isn't about a single play, but rather a series of factors and an outcome that will undoubtedly make you question what really happened on the field. And of course, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, now's the time. Here we bring detailed analysis, exclusive information, and discussions that only true fans understand. The game atmosphere was electrifying. When Washington took the field, no one could have imagined the frustrating outcome that was to come. The game started intensely, with the Commanders showing grit and determination to win. But despite the contagious energy and fan support, the team's performance fluctuated between brilliant moments and crucial errors, culminating in a loss to the Steelers. The truth is, in the NFL, any slip-up can be decisive, and every play counts. And you, fan, already know, we're going to break down every detail of what happened this Sunday. Now, speaking of the final outcome, we all know that a poorly executed fourth down can be enough to determine the result of such a close game. The Washington Commanders had the opportunity to turn the score around, but were stopped on their final attempt. The discussion about this fourth down is heating up, and rightfully so. Fans are outraged, and for good reason. Did the officiating really compromise the result? Or was it a team execution failure? Personally, I have my doubts, but there's no ignoring how much this decision impacted the game. It's hard to accept that the refs made a mistake, but all signs point to that being exactly what happened. The errors didn't start there. Throughout the game, the Commanders' defense struggled to contain the Steelers' offense. Benjamin St-Juste's coverage on Mike Williams was a visible failure, culminating in the decisive touchdown for Pittsburgh. In moments like these, we feel the absence of a more solid defensive line that can handle pressure in critical moments. St-Juste wasn't alone in this. We had a series of individual and collective errors that contributed to the result. By the way, if you were watching the game, comment below. What did you think of the defense's performance? Another highlight was Jayden Daniels' performance. The quarterback was under enormous pressure to lead the team in a moment of extreme importance. He made a throw to Noah Brown on the final third down, but the accuracy wasn't enough. Another missed opportunity that could have changed the course of the game. Is Daniels feeling the weight of responsibility? After all, he's young and still has much to learn, but it's undeniable that we need more consistency. Between us, do you think Daniels is prepared to lead the Commanders in decisive moments? Still on errors, John Bates had a tense moment trying to hold Larry Ogunjobi. The blocking attempt occurred just before Chris Rodriguez Jr.'s second down, and the play turned into another wasted opportunity for the Commanders. Bates is usually a reliable performer, but this failure was costly. It's frustrating to see how errors like this accumulate and prevent the team from reaching its potential that we know exists. So, who else thinks Bates could have been more precise? And we can't forget to talk about the officiating error. This was, without doubt, the most controversial moment of the game. The refs poorly marked the ball position on the decisive fourth down, which could have given Washington another chance. If the referee had positioned the ball correctly, the Commanders would have had a golden opportunity to attempt the game-winning field goal, but it seems the marking error made the difference. And this type of officiating error in the NFL needs to be questioned. After all, did the referee really have an accurate view of the play? Let's get into the details of this error. When Zach Ertz received the pass, he was clearly near the 41-yard line, enough for a first down. But when touched by Steelers safety Demonte Casey, Ertz's momentum made him move back a few inches. Even so, it was evident that he wasn't as far from the 41-yard line as the officials indicated. This makes us think, how attentive were the refs? This imprecise marking was crucial, as every inch counts in this type of situation. Amazing how one play can change everything, isn't it? The strangest thing is that, watching the replay, it's clear that the line judge didn't have a good view of the play. He was positioned far from the action and had to run to try to locate the ball, which may have caused this mistaken marking. This shows a certain unpreparedness from the officials in such important moments. In my opinion, this error could and should have been avoided with a more careful review. It's in these moments that we realize the importance of fair and precise officiating. What do you think? Does the NFL need to review its rules for referee positioning? And how can we forget the psychological impact of all this? After this marking error, the Commanders' players' morale was visibly affected. They knew that was a lost opportunity, and with time running out, nervousness took over the team. What do you think? Did this officiating error destabilize the team? I feel that if the decision had been different, the Commanders would have had one last chance to reverse the situation and, who knows, achieve an epic victory. Another point of discussion was Coach Dan Quinn's reaction. During the press conference, he made it clear that he was disappointed with the game's outcome, but avoided directly criticizing the officiating. This stance leaves us wondering, should the coach have been more assertive? Many fans think so, as it's important for someone to defend the team in situations like this. However, Quinn opted for a more diplomatic approach. And do you think the Commanders' coach should have said more about the officiating error? Imagine if the officials had correctly marked the ball position. With little time remaining on the clock, Washington would have had the chance to advance enough to attempt the decisive field goal. It was a pressure situation, of course. But who knows? All we asked for was a fair chance. What if the Commanders had more time? What if the officiating had done their job right? It's a bitter taste, no doubt. If you followed the last game against the Pittsburgh Steelers, you know how difficult it was to watch our team suffering under immense defensive pressure. And look, Coach Dan Quinn felt this firsthand, and he didn't hide anything in the post-game press conference. In this video, we'll talk about everything that happened on the field and what needs to change for the Commanders to overcome this phase. Stay until the end because I have a special question for you, loyal fan, and I want to know your opinion in the comments. Now, if you're tired of seeing the Commanders struggling so much to advance, you'll understand what's going on when I tell you how the Steelers' defense put on a show and made any chance of victory difficult. What happened? Well, Pittsburgh's defensive line was very well organized, and the linebackers came in with impressive aggressiveness. According to Quinn, our players were constantly pushed into longer downs, which made everything even more complicated. This is the kind of situation that makes any fan nervous, right? It seems like we're watching the offense hit a wall with no solution. But let's take it step by step. One of the main issues that Coach Dan Quinn highlighted was the difficulty of the running game. Pittsburgh simply didn't give space for our ground attack to advance, nullifying any attempt to break through the defensive line. It was as if, with each attempt, the Steelers were ready to make us retreat. They really showed defensive dominance that made it impossible to find the necessary rhythm to advance. And for those who expected a more balanced game, seeing the team retreat so much is frustrating, isn't it? So, if you're like me and want to see the Commanders getting stronger, comment below on how you think the team can improve in this aspect. Another point highlighted by the coach was the return of key players to the Steelers' defense, which ended up giving extra gas to the Pittsburgh team. And it wasn't just the returning players, but the Steelers' own energy and defensive style, which seemed much more aggressive. This defensive intensity translated into a lot of pressure on our quarterback, and of course, cost us some plays. Those who follow the Commanders know that an effective offense needs time to organize and find the right spaces. But with all this pressure, our QB had to make rushed decisions that didn't always end well. Have you experienced this anxiety watching the Commanders on the field? However, the most disappointing thing was the lack of offensive reaction. Throughout the season, we saw brilliant moments where the Commanders' offense really put on a show. However, in this game against the Steelers, that brilliance was absent. It's almost as if the team was lost, without clear answers to Pittsburgh's relentless defense. We lacked solid plays on offense, both in the running and passing game. This raises an important question for fans. Do we need an offensive overhaul or a tactical adjustment that allows more consistency on the field? Because if there's one thing we want, it's to see our team advancing and putting pressure on the opposing defense. Quinn emphasized that if the Commanders want to win again, the offense needs to strengthen and find a way to neutralize defenses like the Steelers. Pittsburgh's defense clearly showed that a basic offense isn't enough. You need a strategy that can really break the opponent's rhythm. And honestly, it's no longer possible to depend on isolated plays or flashes of individual inspiration to win. The situation calls for a structured change, maybe even a reorganization in the game plan. Do you agree it's time for a bolder change? Well, something needs to happen. With the season entering its decisive phase, the team can't waste any more opportunities. We need an offense that works with precision and maintains rhythm against any type of opposing defense. This is the time to evaluate what's really working and what needs to be changed. After all, the fight for a playoff spot won't wait. If we continue with this lack of consistency, the Commanders risk falling behind. And I, as a fan, want to see this team in contention, honoring the jersey and showing strength on the field. Now, thinking about the immediate future, Dan Quinn and the coaching staff will have to work hard to correct these flaws. The hope is that this defeat serves as a wake-up call for tactical adjustments and perhaps even personnel changes. It's a matter of necessity, strengthening the offense to face heavyweight teams that will certainly appear in our final stretch. And this task won't be easy, as adjustments during the season need to be quick and precise. But what about you? Do you think there's still time to change the course of the offense this season? Well, folks, now it's your turn. What do you think the Commanders need to do to stay competitive? Is it just a tactical adjustment we need, or do we really need a revolution in the offense? And more, do you believe there's still time to pursue this playoff spot? Leave your comment below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any updates. Let's follow together what's coming next.